Welcome to Inspiring Narratives, your favorite channel for uplifting stories, renewed hope, and cultivating a deeper connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Discover with me how turning to Allah can lead you to amazing changes in your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are back with another uplifting story that will, by the grace of Allah, strengthen your faith and renew your hope, inshallah. Let's start by sending peace and blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say it with me. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Pour yourself a cup of something you love, get comfortable, and let's get started with our story. I am a woman in my 50s, and I divorced many years ago. I have 3 daughters and a son, whom I have raised the best of my ability. The divorce was not something I chose, and I wasn't given a say in the matter. Their father had since remarried and now has children with his new wife. I continued to live in the home that I lived in when I was married, though there had been some challenges between us, particularly concerning the house. This incident happened a long time ago, but I want to reflect on it and give advice. Don't ever lose hope in Allah's mercy. Always have certainty in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter how many people turn against you or doubt you. As long as you're with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you know you haven't wronged anyone, or displeased Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're on the right path, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never abandon you. At the start of my marriage, I got married not because my husband was particularly enthusiastic about it, or was I, but because it was what people expected. The decision was driven by customs more than anything else. I won't say my husband was impossible to live with. In the early days, he was very good to me. I never expected him to treat me the way he did. First time was when I gave birth to my son. Things were looking up, and after that, Allah blessed me with a daughter. We had 3 daughters in total, and that's when the problems started to surface. That's when people began interfering in our marriage. Maybe it was because my husband was someone who would share all our secrets with others, with his friends, his family, even his mother and sisters. Everything that happened between us, he would tell them. Of course, I didn't like this, and the problems got so big that eventually we divorced. It wasn't something I wanted, but I was forced into it. Then we had problems around the house I was living in. He wanted me to leave and to go and live with my family. Everyone stood by him, saying that the house belonged to him, and when a woman gets divorced, she's supposed to return to her parents' home. During that time, I didn't have anyone supporting me, not even my own brothers. But I held on to the house fiercely. I had lived some of the best days of my life there, and I knew that the house is the right of the mother as long as she didn't ask for the divorce. If she didn't initiate the divorce, why should she have to leave her home? It was a case of the strong ruling over the weak, but I was never weak, and I was never helpless. I relied on Allah alone. People would ask me, "Who do you think you are? Who's backing you up?" And I would respond, "Allah is my support." And they would laugh at me. They wanted me out of the house so he could move on, get remarried, and start his new life. The idea was that I'd go back to my family's home and he'd just send child support and cover some expenses. But I refused. I wasn't about to leave. At that time, there wasn't really the option of going to court or filing cases. Everything was handled through family intervention instead. I went through tough days, appearing strong on the outside, but inside I was broken. The slightest thing would make me cry, but I couldn't show my weakness because I had to be strong for my children, so that I could take care of them. During those days, I relied on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much. Whenever someone upset me or said hurtful words, I'd say, "La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah." There is no change or strength except through Allah. I didn't know much about the virtues of this phrase at the time, but I knew I had no power or strength of my own. "Oh Allah, I rely on you alone," I would pray. I would repeat the Hawqala continuously. I didn't have any idea of the blessings of this amazing dhikr at the time. I had never heard any stories about it or knew anything about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired me to hold on to it, subhanallah. Only after years I came to understand the greatness of this phrase. Alhamdulillah, Allah guided me to it. Can you believe they actually planned to come to my house on a specific day and remove all my belongings to force me out? Subhanallah, I didn't have a single person on my side. That night, I just kept repeating, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, with my heart full of certainty in Allah. My children were with me and we were all in tears. Our home meant everything to us, the children's peace of mind, their stability, and even our neighbours. I swear by Allah, what happened next was something I could never have imagined. There was this man, someone we barely knew. He knew my father from way back, even though my father had passed away a long time ago. This man didn't know anything about my situation, about me, or about my family at all. There was a wedding happening in my area, and that man had come to attend it. At the same time, my husband's family and my brothers showed up at my house, causing a scene, yelling and making a huge commotion. They were shouting at me and I couldn't help but shout back, trying to act strong. It was so embarrassing. Everyone was staring and looking at us. I was trying my best to stay strong until the very last moment. And out of nowhere, that man stepped in. He saw what was going on and asked, "Who is she? Where's her family?" When someone told him and he realized who I was, he said, This is the daughter of my dear friend. Someone he had known for years. He immediately got involved, and by Allah's will, he became the reason I stayed in my home. He helped me secure my rights, even though he was just a person. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made him a means for my relief. Alhamdulillah, I stayed in the house and I got my full rights because it wasn't me who asked for the divorce. Alhamdulillah, I stayed in my home, and he would always tell me, whatever you need, I'm here. I'm like your father passed away and I'm your second father now. The support he gave me, I didn't even see that from my own brothers. The Hawqala really has a profound impact, especially on someone who feels weak and has no one to support them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you, strengthen you and support you in ways you could never imagine. Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am truly near. I respond to one's prayer when they call upon me. This brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this story. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so do leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.